You're thinking of the one in the bar. The one in the bar.
That has the neon around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always thought it was brighter than that, though.
Well, it does seem a little dark, but maybe they had.
Well, I think they got a lot more lights up right now.
Lights are
Maybe
bright
that's what
here,
it is.
the lights here.
Neon in the bar.
Okay. I don't know why.
Granicus?
So here's the card,
Oh, okay, thank you.
but it's my only one, so if you wanna just,
I'll just work this one.
yeah. So I don't know, you must be using a bad address or it's in your spam.
I check spam like 5, 6 times a day,
Huh.
actually.
Okay. Well, then whatever address but you get emails from no, and I thought I just did. Okay. So have either of your groups had meetings, the sign committee?
We had one meeting, and then they apparently had some kind of a meeting without me, and things are moving ahead with the city has agreed to pay for a new sign. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. And
Wait, the city's gonna pay for it?
huh?
The city's gonna pay for it?
The city wants to pay for it because they screwed up on the Fresno sign. The city just steamrolled ahead and put a sign up without
Oh, that was the
asking
city, not
That was the city that did
not
that.
not.
Wasn't Marine, it wasn't the architects, it was the city had to slap up.
Oh,
It looks like a garage sale sign up there, you know. I agree, I looked at it today even. And so we met with the people and who said, the city said that they were going to pay for it.
That's right.
I love these meetings, I just keep my mouth shut and things that, you know, and
Jeez
so,
Louise.
but there was a little.
So it had to download.
Email
Live
from
Manager first.
Maureen on the
She just
signage
did.
committee, and they've come up with, maybe she'll
Now I
talk
can
about
strangle it.
some of the things that beyond this, it's more than just public,
Thank you.
some more uplifting language in there. So apparently it's a done deal, and it's a sign maker's making
Here we go.
either a mock-up or the sign, I forget what she does.
Big difference.
But things are moving along rather rapidly on that one, so.
Good. I was worried about that cupcake thing.
Yeah.
It is perfect. My idea of perfect.
Yeah, we don't want to tick off Glockham Association.
Oh, I do, though.
So my eyes are
That's how I live.
Are they? That's pretty bright.
Is her excitement?
Well, I'm
Is that
my
your
excitement.
Excitement to.
I thought in the meeting that I would suggest that we put the sign underground.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then people could actually go underground to see the sign. Like the
We
library.
can stand there with flashlights and hand them out to people.
That's right.
Flashlights.
That's right.
Or we get that neon sign.
We're getting some pretty good stuff back.
A little arrow pointing
Yeah.
going.
You know what?
Library.
Like, memorize the basement.
Or just one that says
like,
read.
Don't want to like,
Aaron and I
she
are.
might be a good partner on it.
Well, Aaron
It
and
could change.
Well, if you want to do it.
A little digital sign that would change. Read.
tagged and organized.
Yeah, I think we
I
need
assume
to.
they're still working.
Yeah.
One of the things too, because she asked for that.
Now watch, he's gonna come in and say, "Did you do this? It is closed."
Yeah, yeah.
Well, or maybe we could take it apart.
We're all in the same boat, so. And now I don't
We'll
print
wait and see
anything
if
off.
Dawn
I
is-
just kind of wait to hear. So you printed stuff off, so that's good.
Yeah, I did that.
I got here
Way
early
back
so I
when.
could look at the stuff.
Okay, oh, get, but
It's not gonna happen. So it's all improv from here on out.
Yeah,
we try to look at it.
the city.
Well, yeah, and then we could go borrow it.
Yeah, yeah.
We voted without you.
Where it's at now.
It's okay, nobody's up yet, so.
Out the back.
No, we haven't.
Oh, yeah.
And our Granicus isn't up yet.
Oh,
Granicus.
all right.
It's coming.
No, without our,
Oh, you say that.
I know. Well, I'm just, yeah, I hate to tell you, because I didn't really want to have a meeting. So I said to the software, don't load.
Then working at Home Depot.
No, I've got a meeting, but I've got like my view of it is really bizarre.
Yeah, I'm not up there again.
Oh,
I start.
Dawn,
No, you're
I
still
don't know
not.
why you are
11
so
a.m.
special that you
I
need.
usually,
Just,
yeah, but I'm there usually about, I'll look for you, I'm there usually about 6:30 at the latest.
go to the pro desk?
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got one of those. I don't wear an apron, I wear a.
Okay, you show up in a minute.
In a minute.
Scoring it.
Yeah.
I avoid the pro desk.
It's a good thing.
I get it.
Does everybody have their thing on?
Nice pink.
Yeah.
Their thing?
Your thing,
That's a technical.
technical.
As opposed to the other thing.
These guys are, they're not,
So we're gonna,
Oh, yeah.
there aren't too
Yeah.
many that are, but those guys are, and they've been around a long time.
Yeah, we
And
don't.
you can get anything you want.
Almost. I hit
do I
Illinois
have the
today,
agenda
and
up?
I said, okay,
Go for
this one you're gonna say no.
Eventually, I'll get
This
it.
is what I want.
so you're,
And Laura is absent
I gotta
right,
be back.
and you're working on getting Don in.
Dawn should be showing up anytime. Hold on.
That's.
We'll wait for you to show up.
Where do I have to go to actually come here? I mean, do you have to send me to England?
It just takes a
There it
few
is.
minutes and,
Okay.
Yeah, it's the busiest store in,
Oh, there you are.
I come in as a
Oregon.
non-voting member.
Leave.
you're a voting member now.
Busiest store in the
I
whole
clicked on it.
Northwest.
And
In
it's.
terms of
it's-
sales volume.
Yeah, it's.
Not that we track that way, so it doesn't matter.
Here we are.
They're huge.
Okay.
He was telling me this morning, this is the,
Okay,
this
perfect.
is the biggest yet.
Ta-da.
Well, there have
Thank
been
you.
like on my screen, I'm supposed to like start the meeting and stop the meeting. And there have been times when it never got mechanically started.
Yeah, it's a nice,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We
I
still
missed
held
him
it, so-
Earlier.
well, I
That
mean,
was
just
the
that the
important part.
employees get for,
Okay.
going
Is
over.
everybody ready?
I think so.
Patience. That's okay.
I just need to be sure I have a pen. Okay.
And the pro desk is a big part of it.
I know it. I don't know how to behave.
That's right, we don't know how to behave. We're doing two.
Oh, really?
months.
It's already,
Okay, everybody ready?
Red.
Okay. A call to order the September 13th, 2017 Library Board meeting, starting at 5:03. Present are Ken Hall, Scott Edwards, Don Wright, Eileen Sheridan, D.A. Hildebrand, and Jan Wallander. Staff, Maureen Cole and Denise Butcher. So y'all have the agenda in front of you. Any changes to the agenda? Okay, so the first agenda item is approval of the minutes from the July meeting. If anybody remembers having a July
It was an
meeting.
excellent meeting, and I move that the minutes be approved as presented to us.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the July meeting as written. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Minutes are approved. Our next agenda item is Library Director's Report.
Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see you.
Here, our favorite library director, as her message said, right?
So we've been very, very busy since last we saw you in July. Seems like a very long time ago. I think a lot of things have happened as I had a lot to report in my report. The biggest thing that's happened is that we got our RFID system installed, the self-checks and the automated materials handler. So the automated materials handler is now 2 weeks old? About 2 weeks old? Yeah. And
It's very cool.
it is very cool. Has everybody seen it kind of through the window? Yeah? No? Awesome.
Used it,
worked?
yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
I can't take anything out of the bag.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I wonder if it's, inspecting my body or something.
It's not that smart. Yeah, we checked the box that said no inspecting of bodies on, yeah.
Yet.
But you've been checked in, you might be on a shelf here soon, right?
Oh, whoops.
You might want to check the microphone in front of you, make sure the red light is on.
Which one is mine?
Well, this one doesn't really go very far. Can it be moved? Here you go.
I don't know why this one is unplugged.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know either.
Here's your fluffy, or whatever you call it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, great, I get picked up on 2 microphones.
That's right. We won't miss a word.
Hi-Fi, I think it's called, isn't it? It's the latest
Too
thing.
much mo. So that is that's very, very exciting. So the network, the county office has its giant automated materials handler, which is like 30 bins, 31 bins? 28, okay. I like to exaggerate. And what we do now, instead of sorting out books by every single library, so we had crates that, you know, Lake Oswego, Sandy, Estacada, et cetera. Now it's like basically other. So we have one bin on our sorter. We have 5 bins on the sorter, and 1 bin on the sorter is just for other. Is that correct? Yeah. And so then we just take all those books, put them in a crate, stack them, and they come get those, and then they run them through their automated materials handler, and it goes out to Estacada, Sandy, Lake Oswego, that way. And then they deliver it all sorted like that. So it saves us a lot of time sorting, and that way we can have a small materials handler, and it still makes sense. So we basically have one for other libraries, one for upstairs, one for children's, and one for Carnegie and AV. And then we have some things that need special handling. What do you call that one?
Inspect with the dump.
Yeah.
It goes to the dump.
Goes to the dump. So that takes care of our 5. And then it just, it pre-sorts everything basically. And so then we can like put them on shelves and they're ready to, they're ready to shelve. And it saves so much time for staff. And then for patrons, they can check in their materials, and if they want a receipt or whatever, they can get that. And it's done, like they're in control of that. And if they don't like it, they will let us know that, but they can leave their materials outside in our beautiful new giant book return, which is working out well. So that happened. Our self-checks, those are working great. We are already up to 80% of first-time checkouts happening on the self-checks.
Wow.
Which is awesome. And
That's another time saver for staff, right?
it's another time saver for staff. And I attribute that a lot to Denise's push to have staff out in front of desks and encouraging people to use those things as they came across them for the first or 10th time, whatever. And so basically then the Hello Desk turns into the place where we deal with fines and card applications and problems, and then people can just come and go and check out their own things faster and more efficiently than our old self-checks. And we have 5 as well. And the old self-checks, we only had 3? 3, yeah. So we're thrilled to death. And then for me, it looks like it's now finished, because there's no gaping hole right there. So that's like super nice to have that done. So that happened.
Are you getting any comments from patrons?
Oh my gosh, yes, all kinds of comments. You probably have heard more than I have.
They all love it.
Well, not every, not like 100%, 99.9, yeah.
And that's where we take them up to the desk then.
Yeah, or they drop their
Or they
books
drop their
outside.
books,
Yeah, whatever.
We'll always be there.
Yeah, it doesn't mean there's no people.
Sure.
So that works out really well. Is she not got her light on? Oh, Denise.
Sorry.
Gosh, you just put that little light there. There you go.
Maureen, what's the brand that you're using for that system?
TechLogic? Is that what, or Linkso?
The AMH is Linkso.
Okay.
So the whole county's doing that?
Well, the whole Lake Oswego and Oregon City and then the network office are the only ones that have an automated material handler. Although I think once people see how cool it is, they're like, they need to kind of adapt their space to that. Like, so Lake Oswego.
You didn't do that in Canby? Not in Canby?
No, not in Canby. No, I don't think they had enough money in their project to do that. But like Lake Oswego remodeled their circulation area in anticipation of this. So, which made sense because they had some money from the county, $1 million thing, and they couldn't build a new library because that got voted down. So this is kind of the next best thing, So we're the only ones that have the automated material handlers, and then everybody else has the same self-checks. Everybody's got the same self-checks. But, depending on what library you're at, you may or may not be encouraged to use them. We really want people to use them. We think they're super cool. And in the future, like right now, basically it checks out your books and that's it. But there's things that you can add to those kiosks. You can show recommendations. Like if you check out something in the future, we might be, have there's an option where you can like have a thing pop up and says, hey, if you like that, then you might like this. Do you want to put it on hold? That kind of reader's advisory. Or also you can add a little module on there where it could pay your fines, or, you could pay your fines to it, which would be nice. But first we want to get to the point where we can, people can just pay their fines online, and then we'll deal with the other thing, because that's actually where being a consortium makes things really hard, because every city deals with finances differently, and it's very complicated very fast. But, so we're just using it at its very kind of basic minimum level right now, but there's options, and that's one reason everybody needs to have the same self-checks, and hopefully have people use the self-checks as well.
Nice.
So we're doing great. And I mean, staff has done just a bang-up job on encouraging people to use those
Still has that
things.
new car smell then.
Yeah,
Okay.
very new car smell in our one-year-old building.
Yeah.
I know, right? The new car smell is worn off the building almost. Yeah, so that all happened, and then we got our recognition from the American Library Association, Library Design Showcase, which I sent you guys, which was a huge honor and a huge surprise. I had no idea that was coming. So that was super fun to get that. What else is going on?
What was that last thing you just sent us? I couldn't get it open, but
Yeah.
it was some kind of a architect's thing.
Oh, so the Daily Journal of Commerce, which is
That was it.
the publication that people publish all their, we're going to build this, we're going to build that, RFPs, and all the construction industry for the whole region. They did a article where some architects, including ours, talked about adding on to historic buildings. And so we were one of the buildings featured, but it was our pictures that they used. So that was sweet. So it wasn't all about us, but if you're just looking at pictures, you would think it was all about us. So anyway, so as far as the building goes, we're still working with Dave and Will, the contractors, to finish up a few little odds and ends, but we've had a couple surprises. The HVAC stopped working a couple times. The sliding doors stayed open and didn't want to close a couple times. But, these things are going to happen, and we've worked through them and getting to know the right person for the right problem. On the whole, the building functions amazingly well. So I'm always super pleased with our layout and design and how it's turned out to be a really, really well-working facility. So that, and I was really, really concerned about that. So that pleases me to no end. We still are needing to work on too much light and too much noise. So I am working with the architects on some follow-up projects, as well as a little bit better separation between the children's area and the main front desk right there, where we have that green thing hanging down. Well, they've designed something that'll look a little more permanent and go with the desk and other things like that. So those things are in the works and going well. We have 2 new staff people at 30-hour positions, and they both came from our on-call pool. We did a full-blown recruitment and interviewed 6 people or something? But we ended up hiring 2 people that we already knew, and they're awesome. And so now Gina's got 1 staff member at 30 hours a week completely dedicated to adult services, and Barrett's got 1 staff member at 30 hours a week dedicated to youth services. So they're already feeling, I can tell by their expressions, more relaxed, and they've got some support. And that's what we really need, is to get more of those permanent people in place and get things kind of settled down. Judy Corliss will be retiring after over 25 years at the end of November. And when she leaves, we'll be replacing her. She's 40-hour week with a 30-hour week person, and that person will support Denise. So it's all working according to my, master plan. And, which, if you have a different library, you need a different staff. So a different staff configuration. So it's all working out really well. Our statistics for August were simply astounding. We had just 7 people shy of 41,000 coming through our doors. And, the numbers just keep getting bigger. They'll start going down now that it's school. We can see that there's been some slower days, which thank God. Staff really needed that to happen, I can tell you. But our circulation is also looking good. Basically everything is going up, At least a little bit. There's just a couple of things that might not be going up. We still need to borrow fewer books from other libraries and send more out. But that, as our collections get bigger, that will tip,
So when I read these statistics, it says to me, so last year at this month in August, you had 15,000 people.
Yeah.
Right. And this year you had 40.
41.
That's,
Yeah, almost 41.
that's huge.
Yeah, think of it, yeah.
More than
Huge.
double.
More than double.
Yeah, and last year we were in the new building. So the numbers might be, I need to go back and look at this. We didn't have our door counters working properly for a while. So they may not have captured everybody that was coming in the building. So it's kind of hard to go back and recreate those notes, but, in the next few months, we'll start getting a better, actual building to actual building comparison. But we didn't open the Carnegie until October 15th was our grand opening, so. Yeah, starting in November, I think then we'll
more
really see
accurate
apples to
comparison.
apples on that, yeah. But yeah, 15,000 was about our average in the Carnegie, which is a heck of a lot of people for that tiny little space. But still, we've been over 30 since February. So, yeah, it's just going great. So the one other thing I wanted to talk about while we were looking at this stuff was that sign that we wanted to do. We talked about it a really, really, really long time ago. And, oh, great, this died.
You killed it.
I killed it. It just timed out. We had some maple that a sign maker was there doing some stuff one day, and I said, hey, do you know anybody who can smooth this maple and do something with it? And he's like, yeah, I got a guy who could do that. So he took away some maple, and he's got 2 big plaque sized pieces of wood, and one is going to be the dedication plaque, which I still don't have done. And then I thought the other one, which is very similar in size to it, could be the, this is your library sign. And before I had it made, I just wanted to be sure that we're all good with the language that I sent you. And, because we went around and had some different thoughts on what might sound more accessible or, to Oregon City people. But the last I had was, this is your library, inspiring discovery, championing the search for truth, defending intellectual freedom, protecting privacy, open and safe for all. This is your library. How are we feeling about that these days?
Any comments? I like the changes that you'd made, and as I followed the trail of discussion, I think Scott had raised the intellectual freedom that, is that a
term that
is that a friendly term? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because Scott, you had a nice option to that. I'd have to look down here.
I think he had several different words, but I don't know if they were really captured the whole concept. I didn't come up.
Free minds, free inquiry, and free speech was one of the ones that Scott liked.
Any thoughts?
Too
Is
deep of a subject.
defending intellectual freedom?
Yeah.
Is where it is right now.
I was, on
Concept.
this last one, that's a lot more words, so I'm
Yeah.
kinda wondering about the space on this plaque. It's not infinite, so,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, defending intellectual freedom is kind of stated similarly to the other statements, you know? That's the thing about it. Because it's kind of all the ing words.
Sharon's.
I was just gonna say that. I really was.
And I can live with that, but I had
No,
sort of the same
right.
question of, was there a different word besides intellectual freedom? I didn't come up with anything, so.
Right.
Anybody else?
I'm
Well,
fine with it.
the intellectual freedom requires a lot more mental power to kind of get around, as opposed to the other one, which is pretty much a statement of kind of a Bill of Rights type of thing, you know. So I kind of like that second thing, but I don't know, there again, I don't know about the space, if you got room for that. I'm not a sign maker, so I don't
Maybe
know.
big words scare people off.
Yes, in this day and age, I agree. Yep.
Well, on the other hand, we should all know what intellectual freedom is, and if we don't, we can explain it to people too, you know?
Can you write this in text language so that millennials will read it?
No.
No?
So let me ask, is anybody, can we all live with the words that Mo sent us and read? Is that,
Yeah.
Yes. I think you'll get an unanimous agreement on that.
yeah?
Okay.
So
All
go
right,
forth.
we'll go-
I like the idea of having it. I mean, I think that was
Yeah.
a great idea to come forward and to just sort of state who we think we are.
Yeah, and what I'm planning on doing is right in the, between the two sliding doors on the 6th Street side, there's a bunch of garbage under the window right now. Moving that out of there so that when you know, your first view of the library, even before you get all the way in, is like very nice. They've created a bench out of some of that wood and then putting up like our 2 plaques right there. You know, so the dedication plaque and then this plaque, have that right there. We may end up with some other plaques there too, I don't know. We'll see. But I thought that would be a really nice entry for the building. And then the way that he's gonna do it is, he'll have the wood and he won't do anything right on the wood because it's a very beautiful grain, but he'll like have a clear plastic thing and then have the letters etched in black or something so that it shows up. And that will sit on top of the wood, like a little bit away from it, I'm expecting, but I don't, you know, so that you can see the grain like through all that as well. So, and then those two things would like look similar right next to each other, is what I'm thinking, so. Okay.
And then will that include also something that needs to say that this is maple from the trees that were on the,
And make sure there's
Well,
that connection somehow, or?
we'll figure that out, yes.
Because I think that adds to it,
We
you
still
know?
don't have a thing upstairs that says this is elm from trees
Oh,
outside
yeah,
either,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
someday.
the sacrificial trees.
the sacrificial trees, yes. Well, they were put to good use, but yeah, I mean, all those things I'm trying to, you know, follow up on. So in addition to coming up with ideas for new signs all the time too, so. Okay, great. So anything more on the director's report? Any questions? Great. Okay.
Okay, so then, next would be our continuing discussion of the library standards.
Yeah.
Let me just, can I do a check with, are you okay with staying through that, or we could flip, I think, and do a communication?
We could do that.
If, sure, so what, is that?
Just doing communications
Yeah,
now.
why don't we do communication first, and so you guys can make your own decision if you want to stay for the discussion around standards, so thank you.
She's more organized. I'll let her go first.
Okay, oh, that's okay. All right, Jan Salisbury, Oregon City, Friends of the Library. So to comment on a few things, one is that we received a large donation of $2,000, which we passed on to the library. The comment of the donation is for CDs and books for youth, so that'll be a nice addition there. And I was looking at Mo's report, just to point out volunteer hours. For last month, they had 46 hours. At the bookstore, we had over 400 in addition to these 46.
Right, I never get those numbers until after.
After,
Yeah,
yeah.
because like Harriet gave them to me today, so.
Yeah, and the previous month it was about 300. We now have 22 volunteers, so that's been very good. Not everybody is working, except for Harriet Schul is really putting in an incredible amount of hours. I mean, she's a great leader. Working with it, I was telling Linda that working with the bookstore team rather than a chairman has proved very effective over the last year or so, and they have monthly meetings and do planning. So the bookstore is really exciting. They see a lot of new customers coming in. We're looking at other ways to advertise. One is we finally got into the Beaver Creek Bulletin. If any of you are in that area and get that, look for our little ad, plus some other advertising. And we're looking at other ways to promote the bookstore. I've said this story before, but I thought it was really funny. Someone was talking to me and says, "Oh, I'm so excited there's a bookstore in town." I said, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, you know, down near the White Rabbit." I said, "Well," told them about the other. The other thing we're going to be doing is ordering again this year book lovers calendars. And those will be selling for less than what they suggest. We'll sell them for $10, but they're kind of fun. There's one of those daily tear-off page things, and those are kind of fun. So those will be available in the bookstore and around. The other thing is that our annual meeting this year is a month early. It's in November 8th. It'll be at the same location up at the Ainsworth location. Not Ainsworth.
Yeah, isn't that it?
It's
Ainsworth House?
Ainsworth,
Yeah.
Ainsworth House, yes, I get confused with different locations. And so that'll be fun. We're looking forward to a very interesting speaker. I won't share that with you now, but hopefully that will work through. So it'll be kind of a fun afternoon and a good meal. And on Saturday, December 2nd, there's a big event at the library, and we will be doing a used book sale there as well. Another thing is we're looking at other fundraising. We put in word with Fred Meyer for community rewards and have not heard back on that. The other is we've signed up for the bottle drop. And the bottle drop is really simple. You just put all your cans into the bag, and take it up to the bottle drop location that's here in Oregon City, which is off of Beaver Creek Road, just down from Fred Meyer. It's real easy, just drop off the bag. And then this is already coded to the Friends. So if you are so inclined, I have a bag for you.
Just say yes.
Tell me no.
Say yes.
All right.
All right. Great idea.
And there'll be
Great idea,
more
huh?
bags at
So
at
I
the
can finally
bookstore.
say, the library has a brand-new bag.
Yes, right. Now, I only have two, so who? Okay,
I'll take one.
okay, all right. Thank you very much. And there's more at the bookstore
Okay.
and fill them out. So this is a new adventure.
Ah,
So we'll see how it goes.
See how that works.
Yep.
Let's go.
great, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Jan?
I have a question. How many books that you receive as donations that are transferred to the library?
That question I cannot answer for you. I could find that out for you, because what we have to have happen is someone from the library come over, and I know that she has.
Yeah, Gina's supposed to.
Yeah, and how many? But that's one of our focuses, is we have the books, come get them. Yep.
Well, no, I just, probably is not how many, is just what is the system?
Yeah,
Is
yes.
what I was more interested in.
Yeah. There's a person from the library that comes over. Who is that?
Gina.
Gina comes over. And because of the transition in the last year and setting up the new library, it's been kind of lax, but I know that she's getting back into the habit of doing that.
So if you wanted something that the library didn't have, that may have been out of print, you just talk to Gina and she may be able to find it.
She might, yeah. Pretty much what they do is set aside books that we think the library would want. And then she comes and peruses those to pick them up. So, yeah.
But we get suggestions all the time from people who want us to purchase things, and if they're in print, we'll get them. A lot of things are only available like on Amazon used anymore.
I understand.
Yeah, a little secret about the bookstore, if they're really old books, we do not keep them. If you've been to the bookstore, it's very full. And so what they found is it's more current books, current by the last 10 or 20 years. But beyond that, they may not be there.
There's a lot of books that I read that are well over 50 years old.
Right, right, yeah. So, any other questions? Okay. And I hope you all have visited the bookstore.
And our members. And our members of the Friends.
And the members of the Friends, that's right, definitely.
Linda.
Hi, Linda Van Heverbeek, and I'm so used to cheering you guys on, but now that the library's done, let's see, what can we do? We won't yell in the microphone.
Rev us up for the next issue on the agenda. We're gonna need it, library standards. Rev us up, please.
Rev you up, okay.
For that.
Well, let me tell you what the foundation's been up to. We've taken a break, but I think there's been a lot done. Our last meeting was end of June, and we're going to have another meeting the end of September because, you know, we're making a transition from being a fundraiser and that for the building to our next transition. So in the meantime, there's been a lot of energy put towards signage, and DA can tell you more of that because I was not there, but the signs are in at the card catalog.
Card catalog's up.
And it looks great.
Yes, go see your names.
And there's, you know, little corrections that need to be made. So they're done, they're paid for. At our June meeting, we voted money for the library for books, $50,000, and I think for technical things, and I think close to another 25. And so when we get the bills, we'll pay those. And then the next go-round is that October 19th, we're going to have a thank you get-together at the library. It's a Thursday evening from 5:30 to 7. And hopefully, I mean, it's the plan. We're assured it will happen. All the rest of the signs will be going up, all the big donor signs. And then the third round of signs will be the stack. So I don't know when those will go in. Anything else I should be telling them?
I think that's,
Maybe our investment fund that we've, earlier this year, we voted that we would have an investment fund to put aside $50,000 towards the future. And we're going to be doing that. And we've been investigating that, and then we have a place to put it now, so. And we still will have, after we pay our bills, after we give stuff to Mo that we voted on, the books, the technical things, after we pay for the signs, we'll still have some money, but we're going to try to make the investment fund grow towards the future, so. Any more questions?
Any questions?
Sounds great.
You covered it.
Yeah, you had a good time at the put on the sign party?
No, we just screw guns in hand and we got it done, so went pretty fast.
Yeah, everybody was there but me. I was out of town.
There are just a few things that need to get cleaned up,
I think they've already been fixed.
probably.
Yeah, so. Keep going, keep going.
Great,
All right,
great, thank you. Thanks for all of your work, both of you.
well, thank you.
Is there any other communication you were?
Yeah, we had an LDAC meeting.
Yeah, you had an LDAC meeting.
I did.
I spaced it off. So.
Yeah, Ron spaced. So the LDAC meetings are really interesting. Library District Advisory Committee. So our district is required to have an advisory committee. because there's some people who are very concerned that the cities take away too much money in like administrative costs. And so they're really into like making sure that the money goes towards library services, which is kind of their job. But so we're working out a system with them whereby they would feel reassured that that indeed is happening, mostly through our statewide statistics and then anything else that they feel like they need to know. So we're working that out. The other thing they really wanted to encourage us to do, this is a lovely segue, is review our library standards with our library board. And I could sit there feeling very smug knowing that we indeed were doing that. So, and then the other thing is, we're doing this kind of in a way to get started on a strategic planning process. And Darcy Hanning from the State Library is going to come up on Friday and kind of just brainstorm with Denise and I on like what that process could look like. Because there's like a whole, well, at least one book, but a book that is widely used in the library world called Strategic Planning for Libraries. And Denise has been through that process. Darcy helps people with that process. It's a really good way to make sure that you like get the whole community involved in different ways. And so we will probably start off by looking at like how heavily we want to like use that process directly or where we want to vary from it. So we'll come back to you next month with more information on that. And in the meantime, we'll get through this and tonight and next month, and then we can like check that off our list and kind of have some background for ourselves as we move forward into planning. So.
Okay.
So having said
So
that.
you could be at the LDAC meeting feeling very like.
Very, yes. I can continue to like, not want to be there, but still feel smug that we're doing good stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for LDAC? Okay, so we're moving on to the standards, and you said standards 5 and 6, which are E and
Sorry, I
E and
didn't put
F.
those in there, you guys. It's not in the notebook. Yeah, services and programs, starting on page 16, if you have your booklet. And
Dog-eared it.
yeah, so, this is one of those areas where, we could always improve on, but we've improved on a lot in the last couple of years, particularly, especially I would have to say, well, in both areas. And and having specific librarians in those areas has really, really helped. So, the first one, the first part of this standard is basically that services exist.
This is the section called essential, right?
Yep.
Sure. Yeah, should be considered the minimums.
Yeah, and, the library's welcoming, has effective services, yes. Provide basic services free of charge, yes. We offer services that include circulating collection, public technology, story times, community meeting space, and now I can say yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Public meeting space, which is governed by a written policy, yes. Provides reference and readers advisory, services to patrons of all ages by telephone and by text telephone or chat. And we do this mostly, if it's not in person, by phone or email, is what we mostly do, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said yes. To patrons with physical disabilities and formats they can utilize? Well, as far as I know, we do. I mean, we don't really like offer anything special, but we haven't been asked for anything that we haven't offered either, So. Free summer reading, regular story time, yes. Summer reading program for adults, yes. And this year we had 450? 450 people sign up for it, yeah. Trained staff members who offer assistance to the public during all hours the library is open and use of technology, circulation, and access to materials, yes. We invite patrons to provide written feedback, yes. So I think we're good on essential. And then I've told you guys that we are, the PLD group is revising these. And so one of the things we're looking at in our revision is that making sure that if we say it's essential, it really, really is essential. You know, that it's just like at that very basic level. So, I mean, I don't know that some of these wouldn't drop out, like maybe community meeting room is preferred, but not essential. And so that's one of the things we're looking at as a group, just so, you know, it would still be in here, but it might not be listed as essential is all. So, okay, enhanced. Library provides free educational or cultural programs for all ages, yes. Offers programs reflecting the community's needs and interests, yes, I think so. A variety of meeting rooms and community spaces, yes, probably, you know, we could still like more space, but we got a lot more than we do. Promotes lifelong learning, yes. Provides current information regarding children's, adult, or family literacy programs. We have information, but we don't provide the literacy programs ourselves. About agencies and organizations that connect programs of interest to patrons, yes. Staff trained to assist patrons with effective use of technology, oh yes. Okay, the library ensures effective communication with persons with disabilities at all service points by providing staff with training, adaptive equipment and software, and by making materials available in alternative formats. So we have alternative formats, but we do not have adaptive equipment. And so that's one of those things that I think we need to look into, although I think it's on Erin's list of, like, we have some adaptive equipment. We have a keyboard that is for visually impaired, right? But we could have so much more. So that's one of those areas I think we could do better. The library evaluates patron satisfaction with surveys on an annual basis. I mean, we've done that, but it's not been anywhere near annual. The library evaluates all services based on whether the service achieves a defined goal. So an outcome measurement on a regular basis. So we don't really evaluate our programs on outcomes. And honestly, it's like, those are really hard to come up with sometimes
Yes,
too.
I agree.
But,
You know.
but this provides you with a lot of the outcomes.
Well, that's
Right there.
output, it's not outcomes. So outcomes are like, children will be able to read at an advanced grade level,
And then you measure that.
and then you measure it, yeah. An outcome has to be a measurable thing.
My thought on that is, we might be defunct on this, but it's rather like what I've heard in the school system, that it's pretty much test-oriented now. And
Yeah.
that's what
Well,
this would be.
I mean, you know, like, let's say you have a craft class or a program, and your outcome could be like, at the end of this program, attendees will be able to make that craft. That is an outcome, right? So, like, some programs are really easy to assign outcomes to, and other programs, like, let's say, discussions, you might have to say the outcome would be like, and I'm not like really up on outcome stuff, so I'm just making this up. I don't know. Like, let's say the film, like, attendees will be more versed on such and such a topic, and will have spoken to a person who works in that field or something.
But I think for you, it could also be as simply as maybe you have an outcome desired, how many attendees you want at the film, you know,
And
a
it could be- it could be-
target
it could be
outcome.
big picture
or-
like that too, yeah.
Yeah, a target outcome of how many kids are in
Right.
the reading program, you know.
Right. So I'm thinking like that kind of thing, you know, that to me is like definitely next level kind of stuff. And I'd like to get through the strategic planning, and then there's all kinds of training I can go to. It's called outcome-based assessment. Librarians are super into it right now. And, you know, we can do that down the road. I'm not too worried about it yet, but like, that's kind of that next level of development for stuff, so.
I have a question.
Sure.
You, about the people with disabilities, have you been approached by people with disabilities?
Well, I'm sure that our reference librarians are approached with people with disabilities. You don't always know if somebody has a disability, number one. And, I don't know, what do you think is your take on up there?
We have people with disabilities that come in and use the computers and so forth, and they don't seem to have any
No, but
barriers or,
yeah, but have they requested special
no,
equipment?
No.
Because
they have not.
No. And that's why we hesitate to create two, like, we would probably have a station, like one station that would have some unique equipment that perhaps even can be used by other people. Like the keyboard for the visual impairment, it can be used by other people. I mean, but then if somebody has a visual impairment, that would be better for them. So, yeah, that's one reason we hesitate to invest a whole lot of money in that, because we don't really understand what the need is for that right now. So that would require some more investigation, but we haven't. But I'm not, sometimes people will ask for things and sometimes they won't, It's like you don't know.
Sure.
You kind of like to have it available so that it's more accessible to them without asking.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then the final one in that group, the library prepares bibliographies and other access guides and user aids to inform patrons about the availability of resources. And I mean, Gina and Barrett are always making little bookmarks that, if you like this, go to this, here's this on this topic, here's these things, that kind of stuff, and that's all that's talking about. So yes, we do that. Under exemplary, the library provides literacy programming. We do not do that. Or referrals to other agencies to teach literacy classes. I mean, I don't even know if we get those kind of questions.
Not that I've heard.
Yeah. The library provides regular free programs serving informational, recreational, cultural, and educational needs, users of all cases, yes. Provides services that meet the needs of the demographics of the community, including special populations, as far as we know. I mean, I think the strategic planning would go deeper into some of that, special populations. Collaborates with other community organizations, schools, and other educational institutions. We collaborate with Museum of the Oregon Territory and the end of the Oregon Trail, and that's about it right now. But, I mean, it still counts. And that's where we offer programs outside of the library building. I mean, at the end of the Oregon Trail. Provides resources and services to support economic development. Yes, but we could do way more. And I was just talking to Eric Underwood, our economic development manager. He's so excited. He's going to a conference in Toronto, and he said, and I'm going to this session is named the library as an economic development driver. And I'm like, well, yeah. So anyway, I think it will give him some good ideas of ways that we can work together, which I'm very excited about. The library facilitates or serves as a custodian of local history. Somewhat. We've got that Oregon collection, and so somewhat, I would say. And then down at the bottom is like 25,000 or above, that's where we are. They recommend you be open, at least 50 hours. We are open 56 hours. So, down the road, I think that's one of those things that we probably want to look at is extending our hours. Like whether we open a little earlier, stay open later, a little later. Like right now, we're open 10 to 7, Monday through Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it's just 10 to 6. And so maybe those days we extend also to 7. I don't know what the right thing is. 60 is a lot, and of course we'd have to obviously look at staffing. That would be a big deal, figuring that out. But it's something to look at with the strategic planning. It could be a goal down the road, All right, check. There's number 5.
Yeah, any questions on number 5? Programs.
Okay, good. Technology's got a few different sections, but they're shorter, I think. 6.1, community value. Library staff and volunteers provide assistance and training with the goal of increasing the level of digital literacy in the community. Essential. We provide training and one-on-one assistance. Yes, we do. We provide access to relevant digital content. Yes, we do. And by the way, we review those digital sources annually. And we look at that globally through the entire link. And then some of it is, like this year, we have a subscription to Ancestry.com. It's our first year. There's just a couple libraries who have it. You have to use it in-house. But it's an amazing digital resource, you know, and we decided, yeah, well, let's take a chance. Let's try it. Let's see how our community uses that this year. So we look at that annually. We enable community members to create their own basic digital content with Word or Excel, yes. Provide free public access to the internet through dedicated high-speed connections, yes. Provide remote electronic access to the library catalog and other resources 24/7. Yes, and you know you can access that digital content from afar, from home. All right, the library provides licensed software in current versions. Yes, they keep us all up to date around here. Next page, the library enables community members to create their own advanced digital content, photo editing, web design, audio, video recording, and we don't do anything specifically to help people do that. That is not one of the things we do.
But that software is available?
Well, no, we do not make photo editing software available, no.
Well, because audio video recording is a storage hog, you know. You got 3 videos, you want megabytes. So that's why I was curious about why they would have us.
Well, what they're talking about is like those libraries that have studios where, for instance, where teens can create their own movie or whatever. They're not too worried about the space of what that does. It's more of the tools that requires.
That's not us, though.
No, that's not us right now.
No. And so it might be interesting. I see you have a new teen advisory. I mean, I'd be kind of curious to see.
Yeah,
if they...
it's going to be very curious to see what they're interested in doing. Yeah, I think that's great. We Denise was one of the people that helped interview them. So they had to go through a process, an application process, like a job interview. And she said that they did great.
They did great.
Because she does a lot of the interviewing with our other library assistants too. And she said they did better than some adults that we've talked to.
They did.
So they may challenge you with kind of, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
About what.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what they would like the library to do. The library provides free public internet through wireless access. Yep. Okay, 6.2, the library provides technology to meet community members' demand for critical areas of research. Essential, the library provides technology to meet job seeking and entrepreneurial needs. And I mean, you know, we provide some online, you know, resume building. I mean, even Gina will help people with resume stuff. We could probably be more robust in that area. Government and legal information and services and assistance. I mean, that's like, we can't help people with their taxes, but we're always directing people to information about their taxes kind of thing, you know? We're always doing that. And provide technology to meet community members' need for educational support, you know? In that we can, and the resources that we have, yeah. I mean, we've got some very good, actually, education databases that we pay for, so. Enhanced curated guides to resource areas listed above. We have some, yes, we actually do. And provides instruction on the resources listed above. Well, we don't provide classes on anything. We just still do the one-on-one. Engaging the community and decision makers. Libraries are a valuable community resource and strategic partner in helping people and communities improve their quality of life. The library has leaders and staff who actively engage in high-level community planning and addressing the digital divide to amplify their value in the community.
What does that mean?
You know, and that's the other thing we're doing. First of all, that sentence has 2 things in it, which really bothers me.
Yeah.
I could be doing one and not the other. And the other thing is like, yeah, what does that mean? And so that's one of the reasons we're going back and reviewing these, because like, the person who like looked at technology hopefully said, what does that mean? Because I was looking at facilities and I was like, what does that mean? You know? So, you know, I'm like actively involved in city stuff. You know, I go to all the commission meetings, all their work sessions, you know, so I know what's going on out there in those respects as far as addressing the digital divide.
Yeah, the first part of the sentence.
I don't know
makes
what
sense,
that
the second
even
part does
means.
not.
Yeah.
I don't understand what that means at all.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That makes an assumption that there is a digital divide, first of all, and that the values have to be amplified on a second thing. And third, that they're located in this community. You know, that makes, there's three assumptions in 15 words there.
Well, and I'm sure that what they're talking about, you know, would require a paragraph to explain it, but I don't know what they mean, so. All right,
I think
next.
we're doing it.
Huh?
I think we're doing fine.
Okay, thank you. Whatever it is, we're doing it, right?
Thank you very much.
Enhance, the library builds strategic relationships with community partners to maximize public access technology resources and services provided in the community. I don't even know why I said yes to that, because I build strategic relationships with community partners. But it's not about maximizing public access technology resources and services provided to the community. Like Dick Orr at whatever. BCT is like, he's in Rotary with me, but like, what are we talking about there? So I'm gonna like question that. Exemplary, the library supports continuous improvement in public access technology services by sharing expertise and best practices with other providers. Well, we don't share our expertise, but we do work with like the network and the city. We are constantly talking to them about our technology. I mean, we're kind of on two networks, you know, so we kind of get the best of all worlds. We're constantly trying to improve what we've got. So, again, I'm not sure what it means, really.
Yeah, what does sharing expertise mean? How do you evaluate
Get on the phone and I say, Greg, we need you down here. Come on down.
My editor stink comes up on this stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks like stuff that's been copied from someplace else and pasted in here because it looks really good.
Well, it's possible.
Without a lot of thought on it, you know, I mean, like, wow,
No. Every single thing in here has had a lot of thought.
really?
Oh, believe me, there's a lot of, just getting it to this format took a ton of blood, sweat, and tears. It's not
it needs
perfect,
some
but it's
more.
way better than it was, so.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so.
And I'd
note-
actually say we were definitely doing that. The fact that you can just call somebody and say, hey, I've got a problem, and it gets dealt with, means that there's very good communication throughout the network. And I'm sure if it were an issue that had to go out beyond the city, for instance, or the county, they'd know who to call.
Yeah, they do.
I would think you're probably doing an extremely good job of sharing.
If it means what we think it means.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Is that?
Okay, organizational management, The library adopts a technology plan. We do not actually have a technology plan, not a written one. We've been trying to write it for years. And the thing that's really funny is Aaron and Michelle before him, they're too busy to sit down and write a technology plan, even if they like copy it from somebody else. So we'll get there. Our goal is to have one, but right now we don't. The library integrates public access technology into planning and processes. Oh, yes. I mean, we have a budget for that, you know? The library has some staff and volunteers with technology expertise to help patrons achieve their goals. Yes. The library ensures participation in digital technology for people with disabilities. Well, I mean, to some degree, and that's why I put a no. I mean, like, our keyboard.
Well, that's covered back before.
I know, and that's the other thing we're getting rid of is like these things that ask the same question in multiple places. Yes. The library has sufficient devices and bandwidth to accommodate user demand, and I would say we do. We're rarely completely full at the internets, and we always have bunches of people using wireless, and it's just no problem, So I think we're doing really well. Stop. Yeah, stop. Just stop, Don.
Maureen, I think Actually, back to library adopts a technology plan. You don't have a written plan.
Right.
The county does. And I
Right.
think that it's pretty much, all libraries in the county system have to subscribe to that, don't they? In order to make the whole RFID system work and so.
Well, that's one thing, but I mean, that's only like one facet of like really what we offer. Like I said, we've got these two networks coming together. And because of that, and because that we kind of belong to two entities, I think it's really important that we have our own technology plan that really like spells out all those things and
I see.
states our own goals. Yeah. And I mean, obviously, we're keeping up with both of these parties, and these parties have their own, like, you should be on a 3-year cycle or whatever that we maintain. So, I mean, it's not like we're not doing it. It's just that it's not all written down, but I think it should be written down. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so, since we don't have a plan, we cannot review it annually. But we talk about it because it's in our budget. The library has sufficient staff with technology expertise to help patrons achieve their goals. And I would say for the people that we get and the requests that we get, we're fine. There's rarely anything we can't answer. But I have to tell you that some people, the people with that expertise are very, very busy. Very, very busy. So the library manages their technology resources to maximize quality by monitoring systems and minimizing out-of-service devices. Yeah, I mean, we keep a good watch on all of our technology for sure. So I think we're doing way better in technology as well. All these things, we've just, kind of taken a quantum leap forward on with the new building and everything else. All right, so.
So that got us through 5 and 6.
Yeah, are we doing 7 tonight or
Why not?
really? Okay.
Get rid of it. I like to be hungry when I sit down to my supper.
Well, I think
be.
there's only 2 left, so we could also think about doing 2 more next month, and then we would be done, right?
Yeah, there's just,
There's advocacy and facilities, I think.
Yeah.
that's it, advocacy and
7 and 8,
facilities?
Yeah.
Well, then why don't we just do 2 next month? Because we're not gonna do, like, I mean,
We're
we
gonna do
we can't do 2 tonight. I mean, 2 more tonight.
Even if how.
Yeah. So that kind of makes it even, 2 tonight, 2 next month. And then we'll be done.
I'm with the group.
All righty.
And we will not be reviewing the draft of the new standards as Mo is developing them in the statewide
No,
group.
yeah, and I don't have a draft of the new standards, so,
So people don't get too worried about that.
yeah.
But I think it's helpful, it's interesting just to kind of how you think about and kind of what your peers think are key. Okay, future agenda items then, next month we'll continue with standards 7 and 8, and then we'll be finished with reviewing the standards. Anything else for future agenda items? Okay, and then our next meeting is October 11th. Anything else for the good of the order? All right. Okay, the meeting is adjourned at 6:03. That was pretty good.
It was. Is it
That was
two?